In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful, may peace, mercy, and blessings of Allah the Almighty be upon all of you. So, dear viewers, in this video, uh, we will see the scope of linguistics. So, linguistics is a very new field for many people, and especially in some countries, you can say it's just in its beginning phase. But linguistics is very important, and it's going to make a very important future because there's nothing out of language. So in this video I am going to speak in English, but you can watch this same video in Urdu, or you can say in Hindi. I have given link in description. Because my channel is bilingual, so I make each video both in English as well as in Urdu language. Okay, so let's start. So the first branch, or you can say one of the main jobs many linguists do, is related to language education. So how is it different from normal language teaching? Usually the teachers which come from linguistic background, they have a very strong foundation about uh, basic levels of language. So they know better how to teach pronunciation, how to teach grammar, how to teach syntax, how to teach meanings, because the phonetics, phonology, syntax, pragmatics, discourse, these are the basic levels of language. So their teaching is supported by linguistic foundation. So therefore, uh, linguistics have revolutionized this field of language education. So usually, some linguists opt the job of language teachers after they do their masters or PhD, and they get some certifications. There are a lot of certifications like CELTA, Delta, and TEFL, and so on. TESOL. TEFL is, sorry, it is a test. And then some people go to the research area, and they research on areas like second language acquisition, how it is how or what are the problems which we face when we learn a new language, when we learn a second language, especially after we pass through the childhood age, because after that we face many kind of difficulties. So for example, the factors like age, gender, yeah, even gender is sometimes important, and aptitude, motivation, affect of first language, and there are bunch of factors. Teaching methodology, how should we teach adults, how should we teach the children. So these all kind of problems come into language education, and many people opt this job as a researcher, or they become language teachers. The second very specialized field is speech language pathology and audiology. At one point, these two branches are, and these two professions are different. And one thing more here, um, this video is discussing the scope of linguistics as well as applied linguistics. So you don't need to worry about that. Applied linguistics is just a simple thing, the application of linguistic knowledge in real life. So this is the applied linguistics. Speech language pathology and audiology. The speech language pathologist, or sometimes speech language therapist, they are also a bit different, pathologist and therapist. But usually what they do, they deal with the perception and production issues in patients. So some people find it difficult to produce some specific consonants, and some people face issue, and they are unable to understand the meaning properly, or they are unable to listen sometimes properly. So speech language pathologist train these kind of people. They can also help you if you want to modify your accent, if you want to change your accent, or if you want to improve your accent. So speech language pathologist can also do this. Audiologist, on the other hand, although these two fields are very related to each other, but they are specialized in hearing problems, problems related to hearing. For example, sometimes people have to take some hearing aids, and just as an example, as the age pass away, as we get older, so there are some tissues or there are some cells in our ear which uh, tend to die, and in some people this process is uh, more fast, and therefore these people are unable to distinguish between different consonants, because consonants have a different pitch or frequency as compared to vowels. So these kind of issues are dealt by audiologists. For both of these professions, you either require a master's or PhD, and you also need some training, and then you will be certified, just like you can say a doctor, and then you can practice. The degrees of speech language pathologist are usually available in UK, USA, and European countries, Australia, and some other countries. So, after linguistics, you can do a degree of speech language pathology or speech language therapy, and then you can join this field. So, linguistic knowledge, once again, is very important in speech language pathology or audiology. Okay, and the jobs you can do at schools, hospitals, and other firms. Another field is forensic linguistics and forensic phonetics. This is one of my favorite field, and once again, forensic linguistics and forensic phonetics in technical terms are very different. Usually, the forensic linguists deal with the textual analysis, and in one line you can say the forensic linguistics is the application of linguistic knowledge in legal matters. Whenever, if you have watched some crime series, so you may have watched that sometimes there is a suicide letter, and it has to be identified whether this is fake or true. Apart from psychologists, linguists do a very objective kind of, although psychologists also have objectivity, I don't mean to say this that they don't have objectivity. So usually linguists apply some linguistic theories. They match the try to match the writing patterns, and whether sometimes if you receive a threat email and you have to, if you take it to a forensic linguist, he or she can might tell you, he or she might tell you that whether it is fake or it is true, whether the ransom notes are true or fake. So these kind of things are usually done by forensic linguist. On the other hand, forensic phonetics, or in other words, forensic phonetician, they deal with the speech analysis. Usually, they use the knowledge of acoustic phonetics and sociophonetics, like how accents and how pronunciation is going to be different from one region to the other. हाँ जी, अभी नहीं मैंने खोलना. So, and for this, you need a master's or PhD. So, I would like to tell you very interestingly that forensic linguistics degree, if you search on the internet, you will find that there are 3 to 4 universities in UK, and there are 2 to 3 universities in USA which are offering forensic linguistics. Besides that, I was unable to find uh, a country which is offering a complete degree in forensic linguistics. So therefore, it's a very new field in this sense that uh, yet it has not been using extensively in the courts, but still in Australia, in UK, in USA, there are uh, quite a number of forensic linguists as well as forensic phonetician, and the degree of forensic phonetics is only offered by one university in the world so far, and that is University of York. Although in some other universities you can work on forensic phonetics and forensic linguistics, but they are not offering an exclusive degree in these fields. And jobs, once again, like you can work with like CIA, FBI, and different security agencies, with police, and you can also work as a private investigator. And another field is language in advertising. So like because linguists have a foundation in different aspects of language, how language is used, how language can be made more effective, so therefore linguist can work very well in this field. That how you can make your uh, the language of your advertisement attractive, and how you can build the trust of your customers through proper use of language. All right, because there are sometimes cultural aspects, and a linguist can tell you better about these cultural aspects and what language you should use in designing your ads. Usually, these kind of linguists also have some additional degrees in advertising, economics, or graphic designing, or maybe just in communication. Now, I am going to discuss some general fields and how a linguist can work. Theoretical linguist, usually these kind of linguists work on linguistic theories, or they develop linguistic theories. Like Noam Chomsky developed the theory of universal grammar, and similarly, previously there were some behaviorist, and now there are several theories about language. So they usually work on these linguistic theories, how they help us to understand the nature of language. And they are usually researchers which can either be publicly or privately funded. Experimental linguists, so as the word suggests, they usually work on human participants, and actually they are very close to other uh, branches of science, other branches of physical science, like neuroscience, cognitive linguistics. So all these are, you can say, are really supported by the some physical sciences. So especially the neurolinguist, they will try to study that how brain works, how different parts of the brain are activated during language production, how infants learn language, if there are some disorders, physical disorders, what part of brain is damaged. Okay. And cognitive linguist, they try to understand that how we understand language, is there a specific kind of, you can say, patterns behind understanding any language. So experimental linguists work in these kind of fields, so they use the knowledge of these fields, and then they try to understand that how we actually learn language, what can be the physical evidence in some way or the other. So this is a very, you can say, a broad field, experimental linguists. Sociolinguist or dialectologist, once again, for example, a forensic linguist or a forensic phonetician can be a sociolinguist or dialectologist, because their application is highly supported by this field. So sociolinguists usually describe the language difference in different social classes, and maybe in different regions. When we talk about different regions dialects, so people study dialects, and they try to understand and they investigate how the language is different from one region to the other, and then they draw some maps, like this in this region RP is spoken, in this region Cockney is spoken, in this region General American is spoken, in this region you can say Californian English is spoken. So in this way, dialectologists work on these kind of things, and they know the difference. And then this knowledge of sociolinguist and dialectologist is much helpful in many fields of linguistics. Either you say language education, because these fields help us to understand the different cultural perspectives. And then in especially in forensic linguistics and forensic phonetics, it helps us to understand that how to identify a speaker or identify an author, that what might be the specific features of a suspect. Language documentation, once again, as the name suggests, these are the linguists who usually document the endangered languages. Some languages, are spoken in remote regions of the world, like in Africa and in Amazon. So there are many languages, and some linguists go there and then they document these languages to preserve them or to revitalize them. And one may think now that anybody can document a language. Uh, just like a linguist. No, that's not true. If you have just a brief knowledge of linguistics and in its field, you know how much a linguist can be an effective person in these kind of work. Voice coach, a very specialized field once again. Usually some linguists who are interested in phonetics and phonology, they usually become voice coach. So you may have seen many actors in showbiz who have modified their accent, and these are usually uh, people can modify their accent uh, if they have a good knowledge of phonetics. No, people cannot modify their accent by their own. Yeah, a phonetician might may do this, but um the voice coaches are those if you want to modify your accent or if you want to change or reduce your accent. Computational linguist, computational linguistics, it is also a very emerging field and very important field nowadays. Usually computational linguists have knowledge from different branches of science, like statistics, computer science, mathematics, and usually they help robots or these kind of artificial intelligence tools to understand the human language in a better way, like speech synthesis, speech recognition, and how to make machine translation better. And computational linguist can have very great jobs, like with Apple, Google, Microsoft. All of um, these companies need some expert from artificial intelligence. So therefore computational linguists can work with these kind of companies or these kind of people. So this was the video about scope of linguistics. I hope this would have been helpful for you. If you like this video, you can subscribe this channel. Thank you.